Welcome to the Punk Rock Drummers podcast. What did I say? Podcast?
Kind of. Is it? No, we're switching to ping pong.
Podcast.
There's already the fucking pinball one. Now there's ping pong. Punk rock ping pong podcast.
Oh yeah, Mike.
Well, that's got a nice ring to it.
Yeah,
punk rock
Mike
ping pong podcast.
doing the pinball one. Pretty cool.
Check that out if you like balls. Anyways, so today's was a little interesting. I was not a part of this. I had some stuff going on that I couldn't make it. So Matt, I guess, did a round table, even though there was a digital round table.
Digital, yes, I like that. That's a good explanation. Digital round table. I like that.
Yes.
That's a good name for a show, for a podcast.
Well, yeah, we should just put it out there for everyone to steal. Shh. Eat this, man. Come on. So yeah, why don't you tell the lovely single listener who we had on?
Yeah, so this was a cool one. Since Christian couldn't get on, I kind of was an overachiever and got 5 guys on to talk drums, and it was pretty fun. Chris Dalley from Authority Zero, Yuri from MXPX, AJ from Guttermouth, Gavin from Dancehall Crashers, and Casey from Belvedere. All joined moi to have a conversation. A 2-hour conversation at that.
A lot of hours. A lot of hours and a lot of conversations.
Yeah. So I hope we didn't talk over each other too much, and yeah, I hope it's good for. I hope it's a good listen for you, I should say.
For me, yeah, it'll be. I haven't listened to it, so we'll see. I'll email you. I'll text you later and tell you what I think of it. Shout out Rhino Sleeve Washers. I hope everyone enjoyed my buddy Mike's band Chuck Spirit Killer last week. I don't know if we're gonna have time to throw up a song for this week or not, but maybe we'll find something to put it in. So if there is something there, enjoy it. If not, there's already 2 hours of other stuff to listen to. And yeah, there you go.
All right. Enjoy the episode.
Shaka Khan.
Bye. Well, welcome, guys. So normally I do the podcast, interview a guest. My co-host Christian, he couldn't do it this time, so he said, "Why don't you just do something by yourself?" And I was like, "I'll see if I can find someone." And then it turned into this. But Dalley had talked about doing a round table thing in the past. I was like, "Well, why don't we just try it and see what happens, see if it's any fun, see if it works out." And now, if it does, I expect Chris to get it started on his. I want him to start his own. Yes, I can't do this definitely all the time. So yeah, you want to start it off, Dalley? You want to kind of get us going?
Well, yeah. So, I mean, I'm Chris Dalley. I play with Implants. Yeah. I play with Authority Zero. Off to you, Yuri.
Yeah, I'm Yuri. I play with MXPX. Yeah. That band, I think I'm not allowed to play with anybody else.
It'd be weird.
Yeah, it would be weird.
I'll go.
Yeah, go ahead.
I'm Gavin Hammon. I play drums with Dancehall Crashers and a band called Beneath You with Serge Verhovsky from Limp and his wife and my brother playing guitar, Jason from Dancehall.
Nice.
AJ?
Hi. Does it just go to me when I start talking? Is that how it works? I'm AJ Condosta. I currently play drums in Guttermouth and Hit the Switch. And I was in a bunch of other bands in the past, just like Dalley. I play in bands that Dalley used to play in.
He was his understudy?
Yeah. When they get sick of him, they hire me. Like Voodoo Glow Skulls and shit like that. Anyway.
Yep.
Oh, nice.
Casey?
I guess that leaves me. I'm Casey. I play drums in Belvedere and occasionally in the Mad Caddies these days.
Nice.
I'm
Mr.
Matt.
Morris.
Yeah, I'm Matt. I do the Punk Rock Drummers podcast, but I play in a band called Fire Sale and another band called 41 Gorgeous Blocks. That's about.
I think you're forgetting one band you play with that you have been playing with recently, Down by Law.
Oh yeah, I'm playing Down by Law. That's right. Well,
yeah.
so I've been recording a solo album with Dave Smalley for the last like 2 years. It's like taken forever to do all this stuff. So I kind of forgot I was like in Down by Law. You know?
That was last year, man.
I know. But yeah, it's been a lot of like recording here at my studio, and Dave sending me like files that I'm like, what is this? Okay, I'll make something out of it. You know? So, but yeah, that's awesome. Hey guys, I'm glad you're all here. This is cool. This could be really fun.
Thanks for having us.
Yeah,
thank you. Nice to meet you guys, who I haven't met formally.
Yeah, I sent you a friend request a long time, AJ. You never accepted, so I'm just kidding.
I have like a million of them. I don't ever look at them.
I know.
I'll take it and I'll find it though.
The passive aggressiveness is strong with this one.
I looked him up. I was like, I wonder if we're friends on Facebook, and it said cancel request. I was like, oh, he never accepted.
I'll accept it as soon as we hang up. I promise. I'll find it.
I'm just playing with you. But yeah, so Dalley, I'll have you start some topics.
Well, basically, I mean, obviously we come from the punk rock scene here, but also I think we also started a little bit younger too. So I mean, AJ, let's start with you. Like, what were your first primary influences as a drummer before getting into punk rock?
Well, my first instrument was guitar, actually. Let's see, I was born in 1980. I think I saw like the Welcome to the Jungle and Paradise City videos in like 86 or something like that. And I was like, fuck, I want to do that. And then so guitar was like my first instrument. And then I kind of quickly realized like I'm never gonna be able to shred like those dudes. But then the older kids in my neighborhood, who were my brother's age, about 2 years older than me, that I used to grow up like skateboarding with and shit, showed me like Descendants and Black Flag, and I'm like, oh, I could do that. So I started like playing guitar and started my own punk band when I was like 10, 11 years old. But I always wanted to play drums.
Wow.
My parents were just like, fuck that. We're not spending a bunch of money and dealing with all this noise for something that he's probably only going to be interested in for a couple months and then just going to be sitting there. So that's part of the reason I started a band so young, is so I could be around a drum set. It was like my babysitter's older brother that lived down the street, this kid Jason, I remember. Just so I could be around drums and kind of teach myself how to play and everything too. But yeah, I mean, obviously Bill Stevenson. Even once I got a little bit more, I guess, acclimated with like, okay, I'm going to be a drummer. And then obviously my education in punk rock was a lot of that early 90s, late 80s, early 90s stuff, like the very first NoFX stuff. And, obviously Smelly was like, fuck, like that dude's fast and that dude rips. And that just led me to a bunch of other drummers from there that I think we are all either acquaintances or friends with now, or definitely influenced probably all of us in our style. Yuri, early MXPX shit, when I first heard punk rock show, like that's some of the fastest shit I ever heard, like back then. It was poppy and it was ripping, and I was like, all right, there's kind of no limits to this like punk rock drumming thing. So then, just the reins were off from there, man.
Nice. Casey, what about you?
I think I didn't start playing drums until fairly late in the game, but I think like for me, my formative sort of musical influences when I first started to develop a musical identity, it was really centered around like heavy metal. Like in like 1983, 84, when I was like 8 or 9 years old, I was like really into Iron Maiden, Judas Priest, that kind of stuff. That was the stuff that really appealed to me. And then in 84, I think it was 84, I heard Suburban Home by the Descendants for the first time. And to me, it didn't really seem that different. I mean, I've always been kind of a proponent of like what I call rebel music. So metal and punk, certainly, but like early hip hop had the same kind of influence on me. Anything that was like really iconoclastic, sort of anti-authoritarian kind of music really appealed to me in that era of my life. By like 86, 87, I really liked a lot of like new wave and like sort of new rock bands. I liked The Cure a lot. I liked The Cult a lot. All of this was before I started playing drums. I didn't really start playing drums until 89. My dad sort of had a battered, broken old kit with improper hardware. My first snare stand was a stool turned upside down, and I just sort of wedged the snare in between the legs of the stool. That kind of stuff. lots of gaff tape, lots of ingenuity. But the very first song that I ever attempted to play on drums was "Cult of Personality" by Living Colour.
Yeah, fuck yeah.
And so for me, like a lot of those bands of the late 80s, the ones that were sort of like genre breaking, became like big influences on me. So Living Colour, certainly. Fishbone, absolutely. 24/7 Spies, Bad Brains, most definitely. Bands that weren't afraid to sort of push their own boundaries. For me, punk, if it's anything, it's about expressing individuality, creativity, and sort of spitting in the face of convention. So those are the sort of formative influences for me. Of course, I can't say enough about like how when I started playing, Neil Peart sort of influenced me. I actually consider Rush to be a punk band. It's controversial, I know, but they always did their own thing. They were never afraid to push their own boundaries, and so yeah, those are my formative influences.
I mean, I think They Might Be Giants is a punk rock band. So
They Might Be Giants was actually a huge influence on me. The record Flood was incredibly influential. I love that record. I mean, and I saw them live once, actually.
So yeah, some of these guys you don't really think as punk rock are actually extremely punk rock. The Violent Femmes, for instance.
Yeah.
Well, undoubtedly, yeah.
Exactly.
You can hear it. You can hear it in what they do.
Oh, for
absolutely.
Sure.
I mean, and for that matter, like bands of the late '80s that were sort of post-punk, bands like obviously Fugazi. It doesn't really need to be said, but like bands like Mission of Burma too. Like Mission of Burma was a huge influence on me. And are they punk? They kind of just sound like a rock band, but they're super loud and super like interesting. And so I always consider them a punk band.
Yeah. Well, I mean, it's like bands that may have started out punk. I mean, Husker Du, I think, went from being one of the craziest, fastest punk bands to the world's greatest rock band in like the span of 3 years. It's like, look at stuff like that too. It's just like, it's bands that might have started off that way that eventually evolved into something else that was more than just what it was, like playing 210 BPMs to every song.
You broach an interesting question there, which is like, what is punk? Because the Descendants are a punk band, but like they're really just the Beach Boys on like coffee, lots of coffee, super aggressive, super fast. But like it's super melodic. It's unquestionably pop music, but it's also punk music, and so like that.
Yeah. What about you, Yuri? What got your starting in drumming?
Yeah, well, it's funny hearing Casey and AJ talk. It's like both of their stories, there are parallels in my own, where I think for me it started with a beginning of 9th grade assembly. We had this assembly at our school where it was sort of like a talent show kind of thing. But anyways, there was a couple of guys, like the metalheads in our school, that had a band, and they did a cover of Enter Sandman. And it absolutely blew me away. Just seeing dudes that went to my school, play what in my mind sounded exactly like the record, I'm sure, obviously.
Yeah.
And I remember going down afterwards. They left their gear set up on the gym floor, and I went down, and I was mostly intrigued by the bass guitar. Yeah, I remember like plucking the strings and they weren't making any sound. I was like, oh, that's crazy, So like that was my first like obsession with bass guitar, and that's what I wanted for Christmas. And my mom was just absolutely shut it down. Like, that's just going to be a phase. I don't want to spend $150 because it was like a bass amp combo out of the Sears catalog that I was just like, so I kind of let that go. Then I started just sort of naturally like drumming on things. Like I'd pull chopsticks out of the kitchen drawer and pull pots and pans out of the kitchen drawers and bang on those. And then, I'd make drums out of everything, like Home Depot buckets with like saran wrap and tape. And actually, funny thing is, our guitar player, Tom, was a drummer first. And he was the drummer of that band that played that Enter Sandman in that cover band. And he came over to my house one day for another reason, and he saw what I had been doing, and he was like, "What?" He was just like, "What are you doing?" And he's like, "You get a real drum set, you know?" Like, he just thought I was ridiculous. So I was like, "All right, yeah, I should probably do that." So I talked to my mom, and like, she was like, "Game." She was like, "Oh, okay." She said the only stipulation is, for the rest of your school career, you have to be in band, you know, kind of like to force me to use that, you know, to do it. And I was like, all right, fine, you know. So, but it actually turned out that I loved being in band. It was a ton of fun. I learned a lot, you know.
You learned a lot the right way, I'm sure.
Yeah.
I wish I would have been a technician, but I was too busy like playing my own punk shows and making fun of those fucking dorks, and then now I'm just like, oh, Peril, what?
Yeah.
Like, slam a diddle doodle again? You know? Take it till you make it. But,
yeah, our band teacher called me out a few times. I mean, both Tom and I. Tom was also a drummer. Like prior to him joining MXPX, was a drummer. So him and I were in band together. So we were kind of our own little group. And but yeah, MXPX started to get busier, like at the end of high school, and our band teacher was like, "You know, you're in 2 bands, right?" Like when, you know, we'd have to like miss stuff. And yeah. Anyway, yeah. So that's kind of how it started for me. But yeah, punk. I mean, it was there. Like, you know, there was the metal thing a little bit. Grunge was happening up here in Seattle, so this would have been like 92. Oh
yeah.
So. Yeah, I remember going to see Mudhoney a couple of times. I saw Nirvana, but the drummer from Mudhoney, Dan Peters, wow, absolutely phenomenal drummer. So he was kind of my first favorite drummer. Just, you know, just tons of, just so fast and all these crazy fills and stuff. And then I got I don't want to grow up, and that it was just, yeah, something just happened. It all came together like, oh, that's what I want to sound like, you know, the crazy, just the way Bill plays. Obviously, I don't need to say anything about it really, but it was just unreal. It was like, okay, that's the goal. That's the tip of the mountain. So that everything kind of turned towards Bill at that point. Yeah, and then Bad Religion. So Pete Finestone.
Oh yeah.
The Bobby. I love Bobby.
Very unique style with Bobby, with the close hi-hats.
Yeah, always the close hi-hats. I always thought that was so funny. And it's funny, like, I talked to like the guys in my band about that. Yes, he never opened his hi-hat.
Ever.
They're like, really? I'm like, yeah, no.
Ever.
Like,
his open hi-hat was the right symbol.
Right, exactly.
Yeah,
exactly.
It's like Rodrigo.
He's also incredibly...
It's like barely open.
Yeah.
Rodrigo from Satanic Surfers, same thing. Just,
yeah.
Like so lightly open and never goes up or down. He just leaves it like right there, and it's just kind of like perfect.
Yep.
Yeah, exactly. So yeah, all those guys, you know, Gavin is in there too. Just everyone that we played with, toured with.
Hey, fuck you!
To me, that was like school, you know, going to school, watching all these drummers play, and, you know, people you've heard of, people you've never heard of. It was just, you know, it's taking everything I possibly could from all of them. And, of Smelly, of course. Yeah, I mean, no effect. I would say the punk beat for me came.
Oh, yeah.
Because Bad Religion is like, it is, but, you know, it's like not quite to that, like, no effects level. It was like,
it's more of a gallop.
More of a gallop.
Yeah.
More of a gallop, kind of that it's not the butt fuck titty fuck butt fuck titty fuck butt fuck titty fuck
butt titty fuck butt fuck titty fuck.
Rhino taught me that.
It's moving away from the D beat.
Rhino taught me that.
Like the sort of the D beat of early punk, like that sort of Motorhead thing, that it was this sort of a genesis away from that with guys like Smelly, where he's like more like he was playing essentially like thrash metal beats, but without that sort of mechanical feel of a double bass pedal. No shade, double bass pedals are fine, but
that was something I had to kind of relearn when I joined Guttermouth, because Guttermouth, there's been a lot of good drummers that have played for Guttermouth, but they've always been so just on top of the beat, where Guttermouth has that swing a little bit. Kind of, I don't know if it's like kind of like the Vandals did, and like Motorhead was a great example, but it kind of has that swing, and I had to kind of slow down and like retrain my internal meter a little bit to fall back into that pocket perfectly. Because I was always just so like, you gotta like hit the switch, you know what I mean? Just punching and just on top. But it's kind of cool being able to play in between both of those worlds. So,
oh yeah,
they feel different when you're playing them too.
Totally,
yeah, for sure.
Which is great.
What about you, Gavin?
So my brother played guitar, and I was told I had to learn an instrument because neither of us really enjoyed piano. So he was taking guitar lessons from Bruce Hawk at Danville Music Studio, and Jeff Campitelli was the drum teacher there. And so I took lessons. Jeff played with like on kind of the good Satriani record, doing that Simon Phillips ripoff on the Satch Boogie thing. But fantastic drummer, really, really decent dude. So I took lessons from him, and since my brother was always in like punk bands, he was in like Rabid Lassie, he was in a band called Breakaway, he was in Downfall, which was kind of a post-op Ivy thing. So he was always kind of started listening to metal. So I listened to, the Scorpions and Judas Priest and Iron Maiden and all the shit he listened to. And then he got into punk rock, and so he was listening to the Dead Kennedys, which I listened to a lot as well. That's probably my biggest sort of early punk drumming, sort of reference to. That was Peligro. Just
another underrated drummer right there.
Oh, Mike! I mean, I don't know how you could say that guy's underrated. Plus, if memory serves, he was playing traditional grip too. So he's playing all that crazy fast shit, traditional grip.
I think he is underrated,
but
I think he's underrated. I don't think he gets talked about enough, in my opinion.
Yeah, I think he's one of those drummers that doesn't get name dropped with like the great punk drummers. Like, you always hear Bill Stevenson, of course, well deserved.
Sure.
You hear Smelly, those are Josh Freese. Those are the kinds of names you hear in the great punk drummers. But D.H. Peligro doesn't get mentioned very often. Earl Hudson doesn't get mentioned very often. I don't think that like Mackie from the Cro-Mags gets mentioned very often. He's an unbelievable drummer. And then, there's a few guys like Dimwit and Chuck Biscuits. They don't often get mentioned as great punk drummers either. And I think, I think it's a shame. Peligro's amazing drummer.
Yeah.
The fill at the end of California Uberalis alone, that the fast Herta coming back onto the snare, that's amazing work.
Yeah.
He does like some of the Vinny Collier
anyone that's ever had
too.
the pleasure of meeting him, he's such a fucking sweet guy too, man. Rest in peace.
Yeah.
Yeah. And from there, like the Dead Milkmen, I was a big fan of too. Listened to a lot of Dead Milkmen. They were another weird band too that didn't feel all that punk really, but they were kind of goofy and definitely, crossed a whole lot of pushed a lot of envelopes. And from there, the Police were a big influence on me, especially for the kind of stuff we were doing. I joined Dance Hall Crashers when I was 17, when the old drummer quit. So I was like still in high school. I was at the time playing in like a funk metal band, so I was listening to a lot of Primus. Just being in the Bay Area, a lot of Primus, Limbo Maniacs, Fungo Mungo, Puzzle Fish, all that funk metal stuff that I still love to this day. Faith No More too, back when they were more of a punk band with Chuck. But then even with Mike Patton too, because I was a Mr. Bungle fan, because that kind of occupied the same space.
Puffy's drumming is unbelievable.
Yeah.
Unbelievable.
Oh yeah.
So great.
So yeah, that's kind of where I came from. And then I've just been doing this for so long. We stopped for 20 years or so too. So I'm having to get back in shape. Fortunately, I was still like playing and doing other stuff, like been playing with Beneath You for 3 or so years now. But I'd still been playing with my brother in like a country band, and we had an 80s cover band. So I was never like not playing, but not playing this many songs in this short of amount of a time. So, yeah. I'm not used to 2.5 minute songs that are like 180, beats per minute.
Yep.
In a non-climate controlled space.
Yeah.
Wow, there's fans.
Like, Chris, aren't you in Florida right now? Good luck.
Yeah, it's actually cold here right now.
All right. Wow. Well, the rooms will be hot. You know that.
Of course
it's like 70 degrees in California, which is
it's 62 here right now, which is wonderful. I'm a SoCal boy, so I'm actually enjoying this.
It's always 70 degrees in Southern California.
It was 85 in Texas today.
Wow,
damn. I hope you started tomatoes and peppers already.
Oh, yeah,
Gavin in the ground.
Gavin and I nerd out about gardening, so.
It's -4 in Pittsburgh right now, I think.
Maybe we need a punk rock gardeners forum.
No, the numbers go that low. They go to negatives. That's crazy.
I know.
I didn't know that.
Yeah, we just had a handful of shows in Southern California last week, and I was like, oh, fucking thank God. I played golf every morning, played drums every night.
Oh, yeah.
And I came right back to this shit. So, yeah.
You're part of that golfing crew, too.
I'm a golfer, too. I'm all about it.
Punk rock golfers.
Yeah. Yep.
That was a nice thing about touring with. We toured with NoFX in Europe. I didn't play at the time, but my brother would go golfing with Kent and Mike pretty much every other day because they would do a day on, day off, so they could golf every day.
Yeah, that's the way to do it, man.
When you play like 15 shows in Germany, you can get away with that, I suppose.
Yeah,
absolutely. And when you can afford it. Me and Justin, our guitar player in Guttermouth, and he's in Hit the Switch, but usually we try to find any golf course that's close to the hotel before the shows, and we'll Uber there and rent clubs and get a round in and then go play a show, and then we'll try to do the same thing, the next morning.
Yep.
But yeah,
that's awesome.
We're trying to put together eventually, maybe one of these years it'll happen, but kind of like punk rock bowling, but like a punk rock like golf event where like a festival, like find a course that has like a hall where we can do different shows each night and stuff, and then people can sign up. I know there's a lot of us punkers that play, and some pretty good names. You mentioned a few of them,
for sure.
Names and everything too that would maybe get involved, and having like a sponsor. We got sponsors and stuff partially in place. Even Cam Collins is golfing. He's got the bug and everything now too, so maybe get him on board. Maybe one of these days something like that'll happen. Really cool.
I need to learn how to play golf.
What about you, Matt? What started you going?
Well, I'm a bit younger than you guys. I'll be 46 next month, so.
Oh, baby!
I know. I knew it was coming.
Such a baby.
I knew it was coming. I knew it was coming. No, my parents listened to classic rock and country growing up, so I was hearing all that stuff. But I think they listened to mostly country stuff. So I started hitting on the back of the chair and stuff like that in the car and driving my parents crazy. And I remember there was like a Vince Gill song called Liza Jane, and I would lay in bed and just like it had like that surf beat, that Bill Stevenson kind of thing, and then that song Crocodile Rock, Elton John. I was so obsessed with that song, and it has that same surf beat kind of thing in it. And then I'm in '94. My dad bought me a drum kit, and that's whenever I started getting into like Green Day and Nirvana and all that stuff, and and I had like Pearl Jam 10 and stuff like that. And you guys are all like, oh yeah, I was like in college whenever, whatever. But
I remember I was old when that record came out.
But those were like my like earliest influences, stuff like like country music, and then like I got like heavy into all the bands that came out in 93 and 94 ish, and that's when I started.
The year punk broke again.
Yeah, right. So I was late to it. So I didn't get into Descendants until like 96. Because it just.
Ooh, that was the year that Everything Sucks came out, right?
Yeah.
And they were on Warped Tour and everything.
Which was funny though.
That's a good year to get into the Descendants because that's a good goddamn record.
Right. But funny enough though, I didn't even get that album. I got Summary, and so then
Nothing wrong with
that was the first thing I got into Descendants wise. But I had an all tape or something like somewhere around that as well. So I was getting into it, and all my friends knew all these people, and it just took me a little bit longer because I lived out in the country and there was nothing. There was no CD stores or anything like that.
Remember when you had to work for your music, where it was like an actual like journey?
Yeah,
I used to actually like send letters to Much Music to request videos that I happened to catch like a little piece of. Much Music is Canadian MTV.
Yeah.
Yeah. Well, I don't know. I don't know what you guys know. You might. Anyways, so I'd see like a snippet of a video, like by King's X or something, and I'd be like, "Holy shit, who's this band?" And I'd be like, wait until the end to see who it was, and then I'd send in like request letters. Different time. You actually had to like hunt stuff down. So I empathize with being in the country and having to like work to get it.
Yeah, I lived in a little town called Gainesville, Texas, and it was like, 15 years behind Arlington, Texas, where I grew up. Arlington's like where everything is. So when I moved back to Arlington in 95, I started hanging out with people who were into like punk rock and stuff. And that's when I started getting introduced to all this stuff. And, so obviously Bill, Trey Cole, Dave Grohl, those guys were like my earliest like punk rock influences, I guess. So,
it makes sense. It's supposed to like you. You always go like where you're born and raised, and it's like if you happen to have people that gave you an influence like that way, it eventually just shows up in any way that you want to. It takes a different time. It's
well, and so Yuri, Teenage Politics was, I think I was 14 when I heard that, and then and Byron, Pennywise. So like when it comes to that faster kind of music, Yuri and Byron and Smelly were my influences for that. That's such a hard beat. I'm still learning how to play that, by the way. Fire Cell, like we keep writing songs like that. I'm like, God, I got to learn how to play this beat now. It's so hard. That's something you learn when you're young. I know.
Yes.
No, I think it.
For sure.
It's hard to learn when you're older. Chris.
I was going to ask. Sorry. I don't mean to interrupt. I wanted to ask if anybody minded if I ate. I'll turn off my audio. I came right into the studio from the studio. I've been playing drums for 6 hours today, and I'm so hungry, and my pizza is just like calling.
Eat, Casey. You're good.
As long as you brought enough to share with the rest of the class.
Yeah.
Just smash it up against the screen there.
Yeah, I'll put it in the mail. You should get it a couple weeks. It'll be really.
Oh, with the tariff laws in Canada, we're not gonna get it for a couple weeks. So
it's gonna cost $800 too.
Yeah. No, for my money, what happened was, I grew up on metal. I grew up on Kiss was my band growing up, and I saw when I was 5. I saw the drum set on top of an army tank. I'm like, I want to do that. That's cool. My mom showed me a video of the Who playing at the Modern Pop Festival. Like, okay, that's Keith Moon right there. He became my guy. And I was playing.
You like Keith Moon? I didn't know.
Yeah, go figure. My son's name is
only named your son after.
Yeah. I would actually play along to the Who records. My mom and dad had a Quadrophenia, and I would play on my Sesame Street books. And that was my first kit. And my mom's going, okay, well, you're obviously not reading these, so we need to get you a drum set. So I started playing on to, Peter Criss is not the best drummer of all time, but what a way to learn how to play drums. It's simple. It got it going. And so, but my mom never let me listen to my dad's music. My dad was he was playing weird stuff like King Crimson and, Emerson, Lake and Palmer and all that stuff. And then he, unbeknownst to me at the time, was in a punk band called the Dickies. My dad was a bass player for the Dickies. And my mom was out of town on business in May of 1987, so I was 9 years old. And my dad couldn't get a babysitter, so I had to go see the Descendants for the first time that night on the final tour.
What?
Yeah. And so I saw the first time they played was Coolidge. And I'm like, wow, this song's totally about me because I'm listening to Kiss in 1987 when it was totally not cool to be a Kiss fan. Crazy nice kind of stuff. I'm like, oh God. And so I got a lot of grief. So hearing that song and hearing that band changed me. I immediately started looping the beginning of Myjan, just looping and just playing along and getting faster. And then this guy called Bomber came into my life from RKL.
Wow.
And I'm like, whoa, okay, this is metal meets punk rock, and it's like the fastest stuff I've ever heard in my life. And
also an underrated drummer who never gets name checked and really needs to be.
Ever. And obviously no effects. I mean, the cool thing was like, you had, especially when the 90s came around, you had all these drummers that were unique for something. And you like we talked about Bobby Shayer with his closed hi-hat and all this stuff. And so I was like, I would try everything out.
Yeah.
You had drummers like Jordan Burns who were taking what Bomber did and basically making it metal punk refinement. You had Derek Plord, God rest his soul, from Lagwagon, the first drummer, who was the Neil Peart of punk rock in my estimation. You had these drummers like that. I remember seeing now here's the thing, Gavin. I will give you this right now. When I saw you guys at the Glass House and Lagwagon opened up for you guys, this is in '96.
Yeah. Mona.
Yes, I was there. I was there front and center, rocking out. And the thing was, Dave Ron had just left RKL and he was now in Lagwagon. I think honestly, Dave was watching you the entire set.
No way, really?
Yes, I was I always like watch. Okay, who's watching this band right now? And I saw Dave, Cal, just on you the whole time, and it's like that's why I don't think as drummers I think that's the best part about drummers. We don't give ourselves enough credit. We have no ego in this kind of fun circle that we're a part of. And I think honestly, like Yuri, I think you are and this is I mean this in the sweetest way. You are the Ringo Starr of punk rock.
Yeah, absolutely.
I'll take that.
When I saw you that night at that day at work, not night, daytime at Work Tour, I knew you had that stamina for 30 minutes of just crazy shit. And it's like, well, I mean, I was 18, I was 19 years old at that point, but still I saw what I saw. I'm like, I'm running out of gas after 2 songs. It's like, it's like,
right.
That blew me away. And then, you see like AJ, who's been a good friend of mine for years now. It's like, I still get influenced today by like my friends. Casey is fucking incredible. Matt, fucking incredible. It's like all you like, and that's the thing is I'm still being influenced.
We're all like that. That's that's exactly what you said. Like drummers are pretty unique in that we will stand at the side of a stage, at the side of the riser, and we'll all watch each other.
Yeah.
And we'll learn something from each other too. You know what I mean?
It's just, it's exciting.
The old Volkswagen Bug Club or like the Harley Davidson guys on the highway, they all like kind of wave at each other and shit.
Yep.
I feel like that's kind of like how us drummers kind of are, because we're never in the front. We're never getting bombarded, by people. And I think most of us prefer it that way.
Yeah.
Or at least I know I do.
Yeah.
I love being tucked behind these fucking things and feeling safe, but we rally around each other too, I think. And you guys all continue to influence me. You know what I'm saying? Like we all influence each other too. Like, oh, look at that little nifty little trick.
I hadn't seen Yuri play in a long time. We just did Punk Rock Christmas together over in Phoenix. And
that's right. Yeah.
And it was I mean, talk about watching Smelly play for the Vandals, which was pretty educational. That was awesome.
Yeah.
But also just seeing Yuri again, it's like I'm like going, and that's right there. I was like, I was looking at Yuri the way I was looking at him in '98, and I mean, it's just like watching Gavin at the House of Blues Anaheim. I saw you at the House of Blues Anaheim show, which was an amazing show, by the way.
Oh, thank you.
It's still, it was insane to see that. It's like it's so cool to see what's going on right now in the scene. And
so speaking
being a drummer is an interesting thing because like we're like you could analogize us to like goaltenders in hockey or soccer or something like that, where like we're a crucial position, everybody depends on us, but we don't often get like limelight or glory. And as a result of that somewhat marginalized position, I think, as you were saying, Dalley, there's the lack of ego that comes with the position to some extent. I mean, yeah, sure, we all have egos. Everybody has an ego, but I think that like I feel a lot less competition from other drummers than interband competition between other members of other bands. There's a lot more like, and I'm not throwing anybody under the bus or casting any shade or anything, but drummers just seem to be on this sort of ephemeral level of like accepting and existing with other drummers. And that makes us available to what other drummers do in a very honest and almost innocent kind of way. And I think that that's extremely powerful because it like makes us better people. It makes us better musicians. And in the end, it's actually like, I wouldn't trade it for the world. You know, I spend way more money than any of my other bandmates. I have to lift way more gear than any of my other bandmates. It's way more a hassle. It's way more taxing on my body. I've had surgery on, multiple body parts. Like everything's falling apart, but you know what? I wouldn't trade it. Not for the
I think the coolest thing that happened one time was me and AJ were side stage for Strung Out at the observatory in Orange County, and to have that kind of camaraderie, we're like him and I are playing. We're playing along to Jordan. We're doing his fills and all stuff, and Jordan messed up big time, and me and AJ were watching, dude. I mean, the thing is, I couldn't hear what Jordan was saying, but whenever I hear Jordan talking or emailing me or something like that, I hear his voice like, "Oh yeah, I messed up."
Yeah. You saw that, right?
I mean, that's the best thing about the whole camaraderie of us. It's like, like I think we're all there, like we're making fun of each other, but we're also encouraging each other. We're having a good time, and I think that's what it's all about.
What you just said there is a really interesting. Oh, sorry. Go ahead, AJ.
Oh, sorry. No, Jordan's always been super welcome in that regard too. I mean, I know I've sat in on tour with Strung Out, and I've played multiple nights and stuff. When I've sat down and played a song or two, he'd always invite you to come up and everything, and he'd always be very like, "Fuck yeah, man! Like you fucking nailed that!" Like, and I know Chris, you've done the same thing.
Yeah.
And that's part of that camaraderie and everything too. Where one of my favorite drummers growing up is not only let me sit in his stool, but is also like kind of rooting me on at the same fucking time. You know what I mean? And that gives you me anyway, like the confidence to be like, oh, I grew up air drumming these songs. What's the difference? There's only 2,500 fucking people here right now. What's the difference, right?
Casey will say this. I mean, Byron hit me up from Pennywise to tech for Pennywise for the weekend in Montreal, and it was a Rubberidge Fest, and Casey was there with Belvedere as well. And so, they finished playing, and it was my birthday that day. And Byron calls me up. He's like, "Get up here." I'm like, "What?" He goes, "You're going to play a song?" I said, "What?" He goes, "That was the song." "Which one?" And here's Byron. Then again, well, that's fucking narrows it down, dude. That's like everybody.
All your songs.
And Fletcher goes, "Do what you want." I said, "Okay," but I'm like, "Oh yeah, you guys weren't here earlier when Belvedere played 'Do What You Want.'" And like he's like, I mean, and here's the thing: I didn't have his ears in, so I was just like playing. I was like watching Fletcher.
Oh God,
which was fun. And Byron's just, "Dude, you're funny." But it's like, I mean, it's you don't see that with like the guitar players or bass players, except unless you're Fletcher and you smash every guitar that's on the stage.
No matter whose it is.
I wanted to speak to something that Dalley said though earlier, because like when you're on stage, like I don't know what you guys are like. Maybe this is far too much information, but like I have like really, really bad like self-esteem, and like when I'm playing and I make a mistake, like in general, my like internal monologue is just a constant stream of self-abuse. So when I make a mistake, that's what happens in my head. I'm playing. It doesn't matter if it was small, if anybody noticed. It's just this like litany of self-abuse. But when another drummer that you're friends with is on stage, and this happened to me with Chris, literally like a year ago, we were on tour together, Authority Zero and Belvedere, and I screwed up something. I can't remember. I dropped the stick or something, and Dalley was like looking at me and pointing and laughing, and it lifted my mood. Like all of a sudden, all of the recrimination inside my head was like pulled away, and I felt like connected to the joy of the moment. And it made me think of somebody who was a drummer here in Calgary named Lisa. She was a friend of mine, and anytime she would make a mistake, she had the biggest smile on her face. She was like laughing and enjoying herself. And I always envied that she was able to like be so fully in the moment, that she was able to appreciate the humanity of that instead of just like beating yourself up about it. So when that happened, Dalley, it reminded me of this friend that I'd lost, tragically. She passed away some years ago, but like, it made me feel really connected to that idea of a community of drummers who knows what we're all capable of, for better and for worse. When we make mistakes, that's not the end of the world. We're not curing cancer. It's just rock music, right? Like, I think that's a really powerful.
Yeah, and I think, honestly, when you look at we had that punk rock drummers thing, and you see just like the camaraderie between everybody. Like, it's like, I think what like I said, with Yuri and also with Gavin and also with AJ and Matt and Casey, it's like, I will watch you guys play, and like, I just appreciate the fact of like, okay, I was influenced by you guys at some point. I still am influenced by bands like guys nowadays. And like, Yuri, you were in your moment, so you probably didn't notice, but I was pinpointing on you that whole hour on stage, and just like amazed. Like, okay,
Punk Rock Christmas.
Yes, and you were on top of it. Like,
okay.
And just like to see,
that was a good show.
It was fantastic. I got Smelly made fun of me because I had strained my MCL almost to a tear the week before, Jesus. And on my right knee, of course, my kick knee naturally. God. And the funny thing is, Smelly and I became friends over the years, and Smelly goes, "What's?" Because he sees me limping. He's like, "What's wrong with you?" And I told him what happened. He's like, "You're a dipshit." I said, "Thank you." He goes, "I'm not doing any work. Why aren't you hiring me to tech for you?" I said, "I can't afford you, dude." And he goes, "What are you playing?" I said, "We're playing right before you." He's like, "Cool, I'm going to throw stuff at you, and hopefully you'll re-injure your other knee." I'm like, "Cool." That's the way. That's that camaraderie right there. It's like you take it with a grain of salt. It's fun, and so like when you see that, like say Yuri. Was there one band that you were touring with that you like going, okay, wow, and are they would like play right before you were like, okay, we have to step it up.
So many. So many. We did a tour with Shades Apart.
Oh.
And they were ridiculous.
Was that in 99?
It's like watching or 2000.
Oh, okay.
Might have been 99, yeah. Good Charlotte.
Yeah, I played
Shades
a show
Apart
with you guys
was on a big part.
With Shades Apart too.
Oh, okay.
So I wasn't sure if it was the same.
Well, that would have been
Sorry, go ahead.
Yeah. But their drummer. But just as a band, like everything, just so good, so good. Yeah. I was definitely nerding out on those guys, all of them.
They did the best
every day.
Cover.
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
Right? That was them. Yeah.
Yeah. But so many bands. But yeah, that was the first memory. But yeah, Casey, I wanted to just like circle back to like your like self-loathing when you make a mistake. Absolutely every time. And it's funny, like when we'll be in practice, I'll make a mistake and I'll look at our guitar player Tom, who was a drummer for a long time, and he's just dying of laughter, and he's always like, "I love seeing the disappointed Yuri face." He's like, just like that self-hatred.
It's so much fun. It's so much more fun for everybody else. I know exactly how that feels, and you're like, "Oh my god!" I've the fateful moment when you break a stick, you drop a stick, and you're going 10,000 miles an hour, and when it happens, you're like, it feels like an eternity, and then I'll see video of myself, and it's like you don't even like the stick is gone, and then there's another stick, and you don't even like. It's like in the actual like perception of it, it's far faster and far more inconsequential than anybody.
Absolutely.
And
no one ever knows.
Yeah.
I think we should.
Nobody knows stuff for ourselves.
Yeah.
Yeah, exactly. I think we should all touch on what Casey said about that internal self-loathing, because that's also just kind of us. It's that silent ego beating itself up. And I'm sure, Chris, you've watched me play drums many times.
Yep.
I don't know how many times you've seen me fuck up or notice, but I will literally yell like as I'm fucking playing. You know what I mean? Like, fuck, god damn it. And everyone's like, what? Like what happened?
I can't yell fuck when I fuck up because I'm singing, so I have a microphone.
Exactly.
I can't. If I yell fuck, everybody will hear.
But that's the thing is it is that kind of silent ego with us, I think. And But just as we start to take ourselves a little too fucking seriously,
Yeah.
there's always a friend there or something to kind of point and laugh and to bring it. That's right. We got into this to have fun. This is supposed to be fucking fun. And it lightens that load, brings that ego back down. But we know we're kind of like the 5-foot porn star with a 10-inch dick. You know what I mean? We know we're the motherfuckers that are making those feet move, that are making those bodies move out there. We're the ones providing
I'll tell you something now. I'm not sure if you know this. I'm not sure if you know this, Gavin, but when I was so excited to see Dance Hall Crashers back together again last year, and you guys were streaming. I think it was the DC was the first show.
Oh God, Jesus.
And so you
fucking
here's the thing. No. Here's the thing: is that I thought you played great one. The thing is, you did something where I noticed it. It was a tiny little hiccup, but the camera happened to go right to you when you said, and you went shit. I'm like, oh, he cut himself. And you have this like kind of like a half smirk. I'm like, he gets it. He's like, I saw it right there, and like, boom.
That whole show was fucking awful. And then just for us, like we fucked up all over the place. Jason was fucking up all over the place. He's my brother, so I get to throw him under the bus. And then about 3 songs from the end, Mikey's jumping up and down, and he ruptures his Achilles tendon. And then so he's just like leaning against his cabinet and kind of like sitting on the drum riser, and I'm like, that's weird. And then he hobbles off stage, and like I come off stage because I was in my own head because it was a terrible show and I felt awful about it, so I went and did something else. But I came back to see him, and he's like on a stretcher, and then they like sort of cart him away, and then I spend the rest of the show trying to find him because he's like, bring me my phone and my t-shirt. And by the time I go back to try to find him, I can't find him. Like I'm going to all the medical tents, circling the venue 3 or 4 times. There's no self-service because there's like 60,000 people. Jesus. That one was... At least we got the hard one out of the way, though. God, that one was terrible.
So I have a question. I don't know if this is like moderator, if you guys have an agenda.
No.
But we've heard about, ligaments, your MCL situation. We've heard about the Achilles tendon. None of us are young cats anymore, so let's hear it. What do we got for injuries? Are they related to drumming, and what are we doing about them to try and mitigate them? Because I'm really curious, because I have like a whole host of things that are on me all.
My big injury was 19 years old. There was a TV show on VH1 Classic called Rock and Roll Jeopardy, and I won Rock and Roll Jeopardy. And I was like stoked. I won $21,000, 16.5 after Uncle Sam.
That's actually unsurprising. If anybody was going to win Rock and Roll Jeopardy, it would be Chris Dalley.
Well, I went snowboarding in Mammoth, and all we brought with us was like top ramen, our snowboards, and kegs of beer. And so we were smart and decided to drink before we went snowboarding the last day. And on top of the Gondola Mountain, I went down. I went, I wonder what the other side of the mountain looks like, where it says "Don't enter." And I went down it, and I ran into a tree with my right knee. Yeah, I got airlifted with insurance. It was $14,000, so they went my money from Rock and Roll Jeopardy. But it took me. It basically shattered my right knee. So that was the worst injury that I've ever had. I mean, there's stuff to this day that it still happens. I mean, it's like why is this hurting now? It just shit happens. Yeah, and so it's like these things just happen. That was my worst injury. I mean, I had to really learn, relearn my whole technique with my foot because even though it's not your knee, it's your ankle and it's your calf. It's the ball of your foot and all that stuff. It's still
there isn't a single part of a drummer's body that is not used in the practice of the craft.
Exactly.
End of. I'm into that.
Yeah.
What about you, Gavin? What's any big injuries with you?
Carpal tunnel. I had a carpal tunnel release towards the end of DHC doing shows in 2000-ish, maybe 2002 or something. Because I just got to a point where when I was playing, especially on the ride, fast 16th notes, my hand would just be numb. And I couldn't feel anything. I couldn't really grip the stick anymore. Yep. So I just couldn't do all the stupid 16th notes that, I do too much of anyway. So I had to sort of dumb all that down, and then I had the surgery for that. Aside from that, I just have chronic lower back pain from moving my brother's gear mostly. And then because he would have 2 Mesa cabinets. No, and then since I've been coming back, like my right forearm really tightens up pretty hard when I start, doing fast, catch release kind of stuff. So I just have to massage that, but it's nothing like surgical or anything. So I probably have gotten away relatively easy. Just one.
Well, AJ, you have the same thing you have both hands have carpal tunnel, right?
No, well,
No.
Probably, but I only did something about the important hand, my right hand, because he said, I got tired of
this one.
Just monkey gripping it, praying that you don't drop it. 3 songs into a set. But yeah, I dealt with that shit for years, and it all stemmed from a skateboarding injury as a kid or whatever. Broke my wrist really bad, and my hand is still actually kind of crooked. You probably can't see it on here, but it's this hand is straight, and then this hand is kind of set a little bit that way.
Yeah.
But that turned into pretty severe carpal tunnel after swinging a hammer for 20 years to make a living in between tours and everything too. But yeah, I got carpal tunnel release surgery, and I want to say 2013, fucking game changer, dude. Changed my life. Mike Cambra was asking me, should I do it? Should I do it? A few years ago, I'm like, dude, just fucking do it. You'll be recovered in a month, 2 months. You'll be back on a kit really slowly, and then game changer. I couldn't sleep without having to hang my arm off the bed and get some blood flow back down there, just aching, swollen. That was the worst injury that affected my drumming for sure. But yeah, definite life-changing, simple fucking surgery that I waited too long to do. But it's been good pretty much ever since. And I don't swing a hammer for a living anymore. So that, that definitely helped. But yeah, other than that, same thing, dude. Little back injury, golf injuries. I mostly just call them golf injuries.
Yes.
My fucking hip and my lower back, all just remnants of a bad golf swing.
What about you, man? I mean, you're kind of talking the least here. So what has had some lingering effects on you?
I've had two knee scopes.
Wow.
So I used to play with Special Olympics. I would coach Special Olympics, and we were doing basketball at the time, and I was like, I'm gonna hurt myself. And my dad was coaching with me. I was like, I'm gonna hurt myself. And at a practice, I came down on one of the kids' feet, and just my ankle just turned and just went like that, But I was playing a week later. I actually have a video of me playing the fast punk beat a week later. So, you get a lot of scar tissue. You break all those ligaments and everything, and it's
bites you in the ass years later.
Yeah, it hurts all the time. But people say a break would actually probably been better for you. But I just need to stretch more and stuff like that. But I've been getting Charlie horses lately,
oh jeez,
only in my right calf, Charlie horses, and people say pickle juice helps, but I hate pickles, so I'm trying Gatorade. Gatorade seems to work fine. Stretching and Gatorade.
Well, so I mean, all right, you went from being you were full time. MXPX was touring nonstop. Then you guys kind of slowed down a little bit, and then I mean,
yeah.
Have you had any injuries that have obviously when you don't play as much?
Yeah, so I'm pretty sure I have carpal tunnel in both hands because what you guys are talking about, the whole can't sleep at night without your arm hanging off the bed, and so I'm like, oh boy.
Yeah.
So now, and it's funny, I kind of can't say anything to the guys in my band because when we're building our set list, it never stops. I'll go 6, 7 songs. I'll look at the set list okay, I can drink water and take a 10-second break in 7 songs, and so the pressure and all that just builds up in my hands through that whole thing. And then it's just oh my God, I lay my arm, just let my arms dangle. And then our guitar player, Tom, will come over and go, what are you doing? What's that for? Why are you doing that?
Back to work.
Yeah.
He should know.
Monkey.
Yeah. But then after that section of the set, the first third, then it gets a little bit easier. And it is easier if I really focus on not overplaying. The whole time I'm just hardly hitting the ride cymbal, hardly hitting the hi-hats. That helps a lot.
Adrenaline has a lot to
Because
do with
it's
it,
like
too.
Gavin
Sends
said,
that
it's
blood
those
flow.
16th notes. Yeah. And so I'm also kind of having to think about like they always say, most important thing is to play relaxed. For some reason with punk rock, that is so hard.
Yeah.
it's like holding two totally different things, But when I have been able to do it,
relax playing pissed off music. Exactly.
Yeah.
It's
relax and fucking piss.
Exactly. It's
yeah.
Well, I mean, I've had injuries just. I'm sure most of us are dads, and I've had injuries from my kids.
Fucking
playing, Nerf, after my wife telling me and my boys we can't play Nerf guns in the house, and I kick the couch and I break my pinky toe, and as I'm going down, my son shoots me in the nuts, which was great. Just at insult to injury, just like I'm like you just son of a bitch, you have no idea what you just did. But like, and then I was leaving for Europe like 3 days later. What do you do in Europe? You're walking around a lot, so I was broken pinky toe, my right pinky toe. Like, and believe it or not, that is not fun to walk on. So I mean, it's like it's these injuries that happen over the years, over time. It's just like it's crazy to see that, and it kind of reshapes your style too. If I mean, it's the way you look at how you play, and I mean Casey. Casey, in case you guys didn't know, Casey looks like if you're walking behind him, this guy looks like his calves are trying to stretch out of his leg.
Yeah.
And so I mean, I'm like going, how is that? I mean, Casey, I mean, in my mind is like, he's one of the drummers that I love him to death. And I mean, we play together a lot, and he knows that every time I see him play, I'm just pretty much on the side of the stage just doing this.
Yeah, I think we all
because
you make it look so effortless, man.
And then he's singing all the high harmonies too. I'm like, oh, you're an asshole.
Oh yeah, let me just sing on top of that thing. Fuck you. Canadians are better. That's why I married one, bro.
There's someone in that water. There's someone in that water, man. I'm telling
what
you.
is it?
That's why I married one.
The funniest people, the best drummers, musicians, they're all Canadian somehow.
Yeah,
I don't know.
So I remembered something kind of funny, like an injury I had a few years ago. We were traveling to play a show up in Ohio, like in a month, and I was playing that VR fishing game with my family, and there's a lot of like casting. You're catching sharks. I don't know if y'all played that VR fishing game or not, but my elbow, I got tendonitis. And so I had to go to the chiropractor like twice a week, and they would give me shots and numb me up, and then they would like put this band around my arm and cut all the blood flow off, and then they would release it, and all the blood would just like rush to my hand. So if you ever have an injury, go see a chiropractor. Not the cracking and popping. I'm talking about like, I don't even know what it's called. Honestly,
physiology, physiotherapy, kinesiology or physiotherapy.
Yes, that's what I'm looking for.
There's also like osteopathy. That's usually just
for bones,
kind of European chiropractic.
Yeah.
So
not
the Canadian knows everything. He knows exactly what you're talking about.
I know because I've seen them all. I see a physiotherapist on the regular.
It's free. It's fucking free.
Well, no, chiropractic and physiotherapy are not free.
Oh,
not up here. Basic medical, sure, yeah, that's all free. But if you need like extra stuff, you have to pay for that. Dental, that sort of thing. Yeah.
Okay.
But
here's a question I want to ask all of you guys, because I mean,
I didn't get to talk about my injuries.
Yeah, I was actually going to say, let's talk about that.
Okay. I just wanted to say
your calf,
because it's most of it is actually in my shin, believe it or not, the tibialis anterior, which is a muscle on the outside of the shin. I have something kind of unusual called chronic exertional compartment syndrome, and it's something that generally occurs in like long distance runners, ballet dancers, like speed skaters, people who use like really, really fast burst energy with their lower legs. It's a really unusual condition that results essentially in the muscle growing too large inside the compartment. So like the fascia, which surrounds a muscle compartment, is like a sausage casing, it's like a semi-flexible membrane, but it has like a limit that it'll go to. And so when the muscle grows too large, there's too much pressure inside the compartment. The fibers don't move properly, and it puts pressure on nerves and blood vessels. It's super crazy. And I had something called a fasciotomy, which basically is like they just go in and cut the fascia open so that the muscle pushes it open and the pressure's relief, but it didn't really do all that much for me. And so like I see a physiotherapist on the regular. I'm very lucky because there's a band in Calgary called Downway, who have been around for a really long time. And the bass player, Dave.
Toured with them,
yeah. Dave, the bass player, is a physiotherapist, and he's a genius. And he's the one who actually identified this condition. They were playing with us in Banff once, and I was like rolling my shin out to try and get it to loosen, which is like what I would do before a show. And yeah, he basically insisted that I come in and see a sports med doc, and like I had to go get this crazy test, and then all this stuff. But the sort of like consistent physio that he gives me helps, but like I've had to really think about how to change my technique. Like one of the things with Belvedere over the years is that like the previous drummer in Belvedere, Graham, who's an absolute monster, he only used a single pedal. So when I joined Belvedere, I was like, yeah, I'm just going to use a single pedal. Like the drummers before Graham and Belvedere used double pedals or whatever. So I made this like point of pride, point of honor thing of like using a single pedal exclusively. And I think that probably accelerated the condition, at least in my right leg, because I was doing these extremely fast doubles. And I was also trying to do them extremely loudly. And so now I've been trying to think about like hitting a little less aggressively with my feet and making sure that I have better monitoring, because if I can hear myself, then I don't need to hit as hard or whatever, and that really, really helps. But like most of the problems I have are with my legs and feet. Fortunately, my hands, knock wood, have been okay. And I think a lot of that comes down to like my particular hand technique, which is a very sort of relaxed finger-based technique that has sort of saved me the pressure of like a locked wrist or whatever. But it's an interesting conversation talking to other drummers and all of the things that happen to you. Because like, the injuries aside, we all have injuries. Like I was a bicycle messenger for a number of years in Calgary. And like you're not really a true bike messenger unless you're hit by a car. And I think I was hit 4 times over the years and I was doored once too, which really sucked, by the way. Yeah, it was horrible. But those sorts of injuries are like the transitory ones, the ones you can kind of heal your way out of. But you were talking about like, Matt, you were talking about like having an injury and then having to play immediately. Yeah. One time I was on tour in like 2002, and I was playing in 2 bands. So we were on tour together, and we were sort of alternating the nights that we would like open or headline or whatever. And during one of the band's sets, I had this tendency to like do crazy stuff and knock stuff over, to pull a Keith Moon, like trash my drum kit, just, really, really aggressive. And my bandmate in the other band asked me, he was like, look, this is a 2.5-month tour, and I know for a fact that you can't afford to replace everything that you're going to break doing this stuff. So please, for me, don't do this. And I was like, fine, whatever. So the next night, instead of doing that, I pulled like a full like Mick Shrimpton from Spinal Tap, and I was like standing up on my drum throne and like smashing cymbals. And I jumped over the right side of my kit, but I didn't know that there was no stage on that side. So like I came down. Oh, no. The floor was 4 feet below where I expected it to be. I landed on the side of my foot. My foot swelled up like a football. I finished the show and then went immediately to the hospital. It was only the 4th show of a 2.5-month tour. And he was like, yeah, your foot's broken. Basically, the pinky toe had been pushed back into the metatarsal, which is the bone that runs down the foot, and split it open like that at the end. And he was like, so I'm going to have to cast it. And I'm like, well, I can't. I'm on this tour. And he's like, fine, what do I know? I'm only a doctor. He actually said that. Respect to him for saying that. But he was like, well, try and stay off it as much as you can. Don't lift any equipment. Keep it wrapped whenever you're not playing. And I played that tour on a broken right foot. So I know exactly what you're talking about, Matt, where you like power through, because it's like, this is the job, right?
Yeah.
I broke my hand in South America a couple of years ago, and
yes.
And the doctor was like, you should not do this. Like if you play this tour with this hand, you might never play again. And I took it seriously. I didn't play the last 4 shows. So,
there's I remember we were playing a festival, and we were playing right after. There's multiple stages. We were playing right after Gorilla Biscuits, and I had not seen Gorilla Biscuits live. It was the first time playing since the early '90s, whatever it was. So I was not going to miss at least seeing the first part of that set. And I quit doing the whole pit thing and all that stuff years ago. But all of a sudden that the horn part for Start Today started. I'm going, hold my stuff. I'm going to stage dive, and I stage dove and I sprained my ankle hardcore. So I had to play right after that, and it was not. That was probably the most painful show. Thank God I was sweating, because you couldn't see that I was actually crying.
Yeah, that's the thing. We can't hurt anything.
No.
Yeah,
like Casey said, you need all of your body to play drums, pretty much. So there's not a body part that you're not going to feel anyway, like while you're playing. So
playing sick is the worst in my mind. In my experience, playing sick, throwing up in a bucket, or you have 102 fever, it's the worst feeling in the world.
Oh, is anyone throwing up on stage?
I had a bucket right next to me, throwing up in a bucket.
Yeah, I had salmonellosis once, and was definitely like, I had a garbage can beside me, and was like, yeah, it was awful. It was awful. And I wanted to speak to what Yuri was saying too, because and AJ just pointed it out too, is it's like, I don't know that other members have a clear concept of just what is required to do our job a lot of times. So like, if you are injured, if you're tired, or if you're sick, or if they're building a set list, or, in the case of our band, God bless Steve, he's one of the hardest working men in show business, but he tends to book us relentlessly. So if we go out for 3 weeks, for 21 days, we play 20 shows. It's like, I've been begging him, like, 1 day off a week, please, just 1 day off a week, like the Lord's Day, just Misery Monday, just take it off the schedule so that we can recuperate. He benefits from it too, because singing, 20 days straight is not great either. But like that 1 day is really helpful to kind of like recuperate. I just, you get battered down so easily, especially at this age. Like, playing this kind of music in your 50s, forget about it. It's super, super taxing. It really. And I could
actually vouch for the whole thing with Steve, because Steve's our booking agent, and I can tell you right now, we did a European tour, and we did, I think, 24 shows in 26 days. And so
we've all been on those merit-based tours.
Like I said, God love him. He's a sweetheart. He's the best. He's the absolute best. But he pushes pretty hard, and my job is exceedingly difficult, and sometimes I have to express that.
Yeah, they have no empathy for us, man. They don't have any fucking empathy for us.
Well, I'll know Gavin and Yuri, if you know Steve, who's the singer and guitar player from Belvedere, but I call him the Tom Hanks of punk rock. If you don't like him, there's something wrong with you.
Yeah. I don't trust anybody that doesn't like Steve.
Yeah, he's probably like one of the most genuine, sweetest guys in the world. I've only seen him get mad once, and that's saying a lot in 25 years. But speaking of, like,
he'll tell it like it is, though. Like, he'll definitely be like, "That's not right. You shouldn't do that." He doesn't pull punches. That's for sure.
No.
Well, we've been talking about shows being in pain and all that stuff. Let's talk about this real quick. Positive. Best shows you guys ever. What was the best show you ever played in your mind, and why was it so special to you? Let's start with you. Let's start with AJ.
Yeah, that one's easy. I've been asked that question a lot. When I was in Voodoo Glow Skulls, and we did a festival in Mexico City, and that's still, there's pictures. I have pictures of that in like my EPK. Even just my face was like, yeah, like behind the kit. It says it all. Literally, the 20,000 Latinos like singing the horn lines louder than the fucking PA. The entire like airplane hangar was shaking, sweating. It was fucking epic. And that was when Frank was still in the band, before Ephraim joined and stuff too. That was one of the last tours with Frank, actually, when I was in the band. That one stands out for sure. And Hit the Switches first time at Punk Rock Holiday also. That's I think we've all probably done that festival, maybe not. But if you haven't, I definitely recommend it. It's my favorite festival to play.
Yeah.
In Pullman, Sylvania. Awesomely organized, always a great bill. It's always just like a family reunion at those things with a bunch of friends. And, the people there are just so stoked that your band is there, so they give you everything, and that in turn just makes me want to give them everything. So I've played that with a few different bands, and those are always fucking epic too. But yeah, Mexico City was definitely the best. Definitely.
What about you, Casey?
That's kind of a big question. I don't know that I could pick one. The first, like when I joined Belvedere, I mean, I've known Steve since the 90s, but I didn't join Belvedere until 2014. So my first show with Belvedere was in Tokyo. It was, I had never been to Japan before, so that was pretty memorable for me. And Belvedere hadn't been to Japan in quite some time. So it was a full club and everybody was going crazy. And for me, that was a new experience. And then a month later, we played Rockfest. And that was the largest crowd I'd played to up until that point. That was about 11,000 people. And it was the first time I had that thing that AJ was talking about where, like, you know, that part in Brandywine, we have a song called Brandywine where we stop and we sometimes let the audience sing the a cappella section. And it was just like a wave hit me. I'd never experienced anything like that. I was used to playing, you know, shit shows and shit clubs for most of my career. And so playing to that many people and having a wave of energy come over you like that is, I mean, I tore back into the song, but I was laughing uncontrollably, just like completely nowhere. And I've had a few shows like that with Belvedere. Like we played Alta Voz Fest in Medellin, Colombia in 2019. And that was 35,000 people. Like it was wild. I mean, I dare say that not that many people of the crowd were that interested in Belvedere because it was an incredibly diverse bill, but it was still a huge, huge crowd. And, you know, AJ was talking about Punk Rock Holiday. Both times we've played main stage at Punk Rock Holiday it was off the chain. It was so amazing. But like big shows aren't always they aren't always the thing, right? Sometimes those little ones are like, they surprise you. You know, after we played that festival in Alta Voz, we went to Bogota in Colombia and we played this tiny little dirt bunker club. It was maybe 200 cap and they put 400 in there. There was no ventilation. I was, you know, the temperature there is insane. It's 110 degrees Fahrenheit. And like, I was dying on the vine, like just trying to get through the set. And yet it was amazing. There were people hanging from pipes on the ceiling. Like it was just like absolute pandemonium. And those kinds of experiences can be pretty memorable too. There's a festival in Europe actually, and I'll end on this. There's a festival in Europe that's kind of a smaller festival called Conrad Fest or KNRD Fest.
Yeah.
And it's in the middle of the Black Forest. There's seldom more than 1,000 people there, but this little clearing fills up with people and it's got them like such a family atmosphere that it's like so much fun to play. Like I had a fucking blast at that festival and I hope we get to go back someday. Yeah.
Yeah, we played that a couple years ago.
Oh, and anything ever, any show that you ever play in Brazil. I'm not trying to like call anything out, but like Brazilian music fans are pretty into it.
Yes,
they're pretty enthusiastic, and that's that can be really, really inspiring. Well, what you were saying about singing horn parts, like they sing the guitar parts in Brazil, you know, sing along with the guitar parts. And the first time I sort of recognized that we had game down there, we were playing this it wasn't even a festival, it was a show in like this big indoor soccer arena thing. It was, I don't know, maybe 5,000 cap, 4,000 cap. And it was full, but we were opening for Pennywise and a Brazilian band called Dead Fish, who's absolutely massive in Brazil. Yeah. And so like I expected it to be full because we're playing with two huge bands. They're not there for us. But then I saw like, you know, like when we played that same song, Brandywine, everybody in the place was singing along. And that kind of like realizing that like, oh shit, people actually like us. Like we have an impact. That's a nice thing.
Absolutely. What about you, Yuri?
Yeah. So like Casey was saying, it's not always the big ones that stick with you. I mean, and I could have answered this in 50 different ways, but I think it was 98 or 2000 Warped Tour, Pontiac, Michigan, probably 98. Anyway, doesn't matter. But so there was like a torrential downpour. They shut the whole thing down. But the sound guys at our side stage, which was just a truck bed, they're like, our stuff works. Do you guys want to play? We're like, absolutely. So we were the only band playing at Warped Tour. We played our set. It was raining sideways. It was amazing. I mean, everyone came to watch us. You know, it was like, wow, this is so cool.
That's amazing.
Very cool.
What about you, Gavin? You've done a lot of cool shows that I've seen. So,
so I probably, I mean, it's kind of lame, but playing Riot Fest last summer was just fucking incredible. To actually be sort of invited to play on the main stage, it was great. People like knew who we were and knew the words. You know, it didn't feel like a festival where something was different about Warped. Warped felt more, you know, like an emo festival, whereas like Riot Fest felt like a punk festival. Bands that, you know, we sort of jibed a little bit with more so. So yeah, that was really good. Either that or like we made a live record at the Troubadour in Hollywood. And that one's just fun because of how like stupidly fast it is.
It's very fast.
Yes, it is.
It's so stupidly fast.
But it's awesome, though.
That's the second time we played that set. So I played that entire set 2 times because we recorded the first time in case anybody fucked up. And then we recorded it the second time. So that was just like super dumb. But I listen to it now and it's like a cautionary tale of like, you know, don't overdo it or don't overplay or, you know, what I'm trying not to do now. But yeah, either of those. Riot Fest was fucking amazing because we got to see like Idols and Jawbreaker and Guar and so many just acts that I hadn't seen in ages.
That's the best part about that Riot Fest. I mean, now you get to play for a massive amount of people, but also you get to see these amazing bands that you don't normally play with.
Totally.
It's I was at Rockfest earlier too in Montebello.
Oh, fantastic!
Rockfest was like that too. I played that a few times before it was bankrupt and gone, but same thing. And then you go to catering, and I'm having dinner with the Deftones and Morbid Angel. Like fucking awesome.
That one was a crazy one. I've been lucky enough to play that one twice for sure.
Yeah, me too. I played it twice as well. I mean, that was a show like it was kind of like it was a Canadian Riot Fest. I mean, it was like basically a very cool variety of, you know, metal, punk, you know, alternative.
I think I have the poster on the wall right behind me, actually.
Oh yeah,
nice. One of the years I played, right over there.
And it's a really cool awakening. Like, see, like what blew me away was, especially at Amnesia Rockfest, was seeing bands that were not so big stateside. But then you like see Assorted Jelly Beans had a huge fucking show there. Bigwig, who I thought was criminally underrated band. That place was packed for Bigwig. I couldn't believe it. I was like, whoa. Like, you know, I remember like going to see them in their, you know, their peak era in SoCal, and it was like maybe 150 people there. These were like thousands of people, and like they were like going bonkers. So I mean, it's really
too, actually. Just kind of how jaded the states are, and I'm sure we've all experienced that. But even I remember like Hit the Switch's first European tour. This was post Nitro Records. Like we got signed to Nitro Records basically at a bad time when Dexter was selling the label, and they were pretty much just going catalog. And then bands like us and like Wilhelm Scream and some other bands kind of got fucked on that deal. But I remember first time even just going to Europe, and we're showing up in like Huesca, Spain, like right next to Portugal, like this military town in Spain that I've never even heard of, but there's 250 kids there, and they just see, you know, a poster at their record store at a venue or whatever that says, you know, Southern California American punk band, you know, punk band, and there's like, oh, this band's like coming to my city, let's go fucking check them out. Or it's completely the opposite in the States, and not just because I'm from Southern California, but I mean, I even see it here in Pittsburgh and stuff now, but all over the States, man. Like it's so saturated that a lot of people won't even go pay, you know. Well, back in the day it was $5 to $10, but now, you know, $20, let's say, for an average ticket, unless they already know that they like the band or someone they know likes the band and they're going with a friend or something like that. And it just kind of puts a huge damper on discovering new bands and stuff. But that's like we've all mentioned, a lot of our best shows were in other fucking countries. Even you mentioned Japan, same thing, Brazil, same thing. A lot of those bands still appreciate that we go there. to play their town, and that just, I don't know, that speaks volumes to me. And
Yeah.
especially in the current political climate that we're fucking in, you know what I mean?
Oh, yeah.
But it speaks volumes to me when if for something as trivial as music, even though music saves lives, I do believe that, but it is relatively trivial in the grand scheme of things. But something that, then maybe that's why it saves lives, because it connects so many of us.
I think you're actually like speaking to something grander, and I think it actually is exactly what Matt was saying about, like, you know, growing up in a small town and actually having to like seek out or search for music, where it's like, this speaks to me on some level that nothing around me is, and I want to feel connected to it more. That has value. And so when you go to a small town in Spain and there's nothing else and they don't know anything else, and it makes it a little more appealing. I mean, one of the things that United States has in spades is culture. I mean, you know, like music, movies, television. There's a lot of things that the United States has created almost hegemonically, where it's gone all over the world and it's become this major like cultural push. But the downside to that, maybe within the United States, and certainly I experienced this as a Canadian touring there for the first time in the 90s. Like I remember the first time I went down all the way down to Gilman and played Gilman was 96. And we were excited. It was like pilgrims going to Mecca. Like it was a big deal for us. This is Gilman Street. Like, you know, like this is, you know, like the Op Ivy, Rancid, Green Day all got their start here. Other legendary bands got their start here. You know, the Stickin' in My Eye video was recorded here. You know, like there's lots of things that we felt about this place. And when we got there, it was kind of like, you know, 100 people who were like, okay, impress us. And it's not a diss on them. Like they get like top tier amazing bands every single week. So it's not really about how good your band is.
Yeah.
And I mean, that's any major city, really. I mean, even in Toronto here in Canada, that's the case. Is like, you know, we went to play, I was in a band that played like Canadian Music Week, which is a big, you know, sort of music festival in Toronto every year. We played in, I don't know, 2005 or something like that. And we were, you know, we spent lots of money on the tickets to get out there and do all the things. And we had a showcase. We played the showcase at a club called the Cathedral, and nobody was there. Like, you know, 30 people were there. And I believe that was before Alexis on Fire broke. And I think they actually played the same show. I think, if I'm not mistaken. But like, you just never know when something's going to hit the right person at the right time and make them feel something. And that's ostensibly, I guess, why we do it, is like what you were saying about it saving lives, AJ. It's like, yeah, it is trivial. Maybe it also, I mean, I know that every person in this panel has felt it deeply enough to commit their entire life to it. Mm-hmm. Like, and that isn't trivial. That isn't something that somebody says, you know, on a whim. There's nothing whimsical about that. That's like a commitment to something that even 30 years ago we knew wasn't going to make us millionaires or even give us necessarily a comfortable life. And now in today's climate, I mean, it's even more difficult to envision yourself in any kind of like meaningful career in music when, you know, you've got companies like Spotify playlisting their own artificial bands. They got AI creating artists. They're putting them on their playlist so that they can get their own money back. And it becomes this stupid, insipid loop of like empty gestures and empty, you know, art. It's not art at all. It's consumptive and it's reductive, and it has no bearing at all on the reason why any of this speaks to us as musicians, as players, or even as consumers. Like, I don't know anybody. I mean, I'm a huge fan of music. It's my entire life, but I don't know anybody who's a bigger fan of music than Dalley. Like, Dalley's the one person I'd be like, you know, like, if I'm like, I think that album actually came out in 84, and he's like, nope, it was 83. I'd be like, all right. I won't even look it up. I'll be like, all right. The one person. And that kind of like, well, I don't want to call it obsessive, but it is. It's an obsessive commitment. I think it is healthy though, because it's something that like fundamentally connects us to one another. Like, as an autistic kid, I didn't really have any way of doing that. Nothing made sense to me about the world or other people. And when I started understanding music, I started understanding myself.
Yeah.
And that may be grandiose as a statement, but like that's a really powerful thing. Like, yes, it is trivial, and people put playlists on and don't listen to them. And I talk to tons of people now who are like, I don't listen to music, I listen to podcasts. And it's like,
which I think honestly, I mean, that's the one thing I actually miss about the fact about these people. You have the younger generation, they don't understand what it is like to put a record on and just go on this adventure for 30 to 45 minutes. It is.
Read the lyrics, man.
I think they're figuring it out again, Chris.
I'll tell you that right now.
I think they're figuring it out.
Yuri, I'll tell you this right now. And actually, same thing with Gavin as well. I remember buying Slowly Going the Way of the Buffalo, and you had you had recycled paper. I still remember it to this day, recycled paper, and opening up. And whenever there was a moment where you're not there, okay, now I'm gonna read the liner notes. Same thing with Honey, I'm Homely. Just that's what I did. You went home. You put the CD set or whatever it is. You open up the track. You open up the that was a beautiful thing. I think it's something that's lost nowadays, unfortunately, with today's generation. I loved going to a record store, smelling the new smell of a new album, and putting it on and doing that. I think that's such a lost art nowadays, and I think it's it has been ruined by Spotify and all these things like that.
Money Bags, the new album. I was in the used CD section, bro.
Yeah, me too. Me too. But and I think it's important to note this is like I feel like it did skip a generation, and so what you're saying is kind of true, Dalley, but there's this whole new generation, at least here in Calgary, I see it all the time. There's all these kids who are picking up guitars, 18, 19. There's all these new punk bands here. There's an all ages community again. Like, I think it's going to be, because I think whenever pop culture, whenever mainstream media gets like too vacuous, too vapid, too empty, too devoid of substance, like kids always look backwards.
Yeah.
And when that happens, they discover like an entire generation of music. They start wearing, it starts out with like Nirvana shirts, and then all of a sudden they're wearing Melvin's shirts, and then all of a sudden they're wearing, like there's like they go deep. Yeah,
well, it's actually a very good point. Matt and I were talking about this. There's this young lady, I think she's 13, 14, 15 now. Her name is Sarah. She's posting these videos every week.
Fantastic.
Her playing and destroying these great old punk songs. And she is coming to our show in Atlanta. I said, you should come up and play a song. And as I realized, as I said that, I'm kind of digging my own grave right now because my job is about to go to her now. Because I know she's going to go up there and play No Regrets and destroy it. I'm just going to go, bye. It was nice being your drummer for a while. My last show will be in Nashville tomorrow, and you guys, I understand completely.
But what did you do? What did you just say, Chris, earlier? I mean, what you were talking about with like drummers fundamentally being a supportive kind of community. Like, absolutely. Like, like how much longer do old dogs like you and I have to be doing this? We should be encouraging people like Sarah to pick up the torch and carry it.
I agree.
Absolutely. I mean,
Matt,
I saw her she played a song with the Descendants, man.
She killed it too.
I haven't played a song with the Descendants.
I kind of have, but it was just Bill and Carl.
It's filling in after these old dogs.
Yeah.
I've made a fucking career out of that. It's taken over for the old dogs that can't do it anymore. But now I'm creeping up to be one of them. God damn
it. What about you, Matt?
Sorry, Matt.
So I've always been in bands that played small shows, but I've played some bigger shows, and when you do that, you remember everything, But I remember the first like real big show, like it was with MXPX. I was in this band. I was touring with this band called Squad 50 very briefly, and I don't know if we were supposed to play the show. I think MXPX asked us to play it or something. I don't know. And it was at Janus in St. Pete.
Love that place.
Oh, so good.
Yeah, love that venue.
Yeah, Janus Live or Janus Landing or whatever it was called.
Yeah,
Janus Landing.
Janus Landing.
Yeah. So that was like my first like amazing show. Thousands of people and just everything done right. And I remember Yuri sitting there watching me play. This was '99. This was March of '99. and he's sitting there watching me.
Okay.
Because that stage is real high up and it kind of has this little ramp down, and you were sitting on that incline, and I'd never been so nervous in my life. And then we went to IHOP later, and you and I sat at the table together, and everyone else was, like the drummers were having their moment, and then the other guitar players were all, doing all their egotistical stuff. No, and so, but funny thing, this is kind of crazy. So I joined Down by Law a few years ago. We played a show at Janus. So the last time I played in Florida was at Janus. We played with Face to Face in Janus, and this was 26 years later or something like that. It was last May, and that was insane as well. So 2 shows at Janus, and then we just played. My band Fire Cell played Music for Cancer last September, and we played right before Pennywise. So they were the headliners, and so everyone was there. They weren't there to see us really, but everyone was there to see Pennywise, and we were on that little side stage right next to the main stage. So I don't know how many thousands of people there, but they took this photo from way up on one of the buildings, and it's just a sea of people, and you see me setting up, little tiny dot setting up in the corner. But
that's a good perspective though, because no matter how big a band you're in, no matter how many people you play for, how much money you make, you're still just a little tiny dot. We're all just little tiny dots setting up.
Well, and I remember this lady came up on stage and started yelling at us because it was Butal. He was playing his bass, and the guys are telling us to hit our drums and play our bass and stuff. They were getting levels and stuff like that while Mad Caddies were playing. So we were bothering people. But going back to those shows where people are kind of starving for music, that same band I was in, Squad 50, we played in El Centro, California, and I couldn't believe how many people came out to watch us play. They had police out there and barricades, and it was absolutely wild.
Wow.
I just don't think anything happens there,
No, of course not, no.
Yeah. So, and that was probably one of my favorite shows. It was a small show, but it was one of my favorites because the kids liked it so much.
Well, I'll tell you real quick about, speaking of Janus Live. I mean, we the first time I played it was amazing. It was January, thank God, and it was with Real Big Fish and Less Than Jake. And I mean, talking about the stage is so high up, and then you're on a riser so high up, and it's Jesus. But we just played there last June with Voodoo Glow Skulls.
That's right.
June. And I'll tell you this right now. I've never in my life have ever walked from my dressing room to a drum set and was a glazed donut disgustingly. I felt like I just played hours of drums just because of the stupid humidity there, which is disgusting.
Okay, so now we're on to hot shows. I want to hear everybody's this. I want to hear everybody's hottest shows.
I'm going to tell you this. That's actually my favorite show. Is actually one of the hottest shows I ever played in my life. Was we were playing in, I forgot the city. It was my first tour with Authority Zero. We were playing in Spain. I didn't know how big Authority Zero was in Spain because we played these other places and they were decent, but Spain, I guess, just gets Authority Zero. And so we were playing, and they overcapacitated it by 140. So it was a 200 cap room. There are 340 people in there. As the intro music starting, the AC breaks.
Oh my god!
This is in July.
Oh.
We get on stage, and the crowd is louder than we are. Jason's just doing this, like this, and we're going as the place is just going berserk. They're going crazy. They're louder and shit. But the last 4 songs, though, I was so dying that I'm a clubber. I'll be the first to admit I'm a clubber. And I was totally went to Ringo Starr mode. It's I was just doing this. I'm I'm gonna die right now. Yeah. I was
dude, that's the worst.
Doing this.
Well, you call yourself a clubber, Dalley, but that's not exactly true.
I hit hard.
Yeah, you hit hard, but it's not as if there's no finesse there. When you say a clubber, that makes it sound a little too.
That's Dennis Wilson. Dennis Wilson was a clubber. Okay, but I do hit hard. But I remember we finished the last song, and Jason and I both ran outside and started throwing up. And I'll tell you, it was such an amazing show. And the funny thing was, in between us hurling, Jason goes, "Oh, no encore!" Like, oh, fuck no, the hell no encore, man. But I still to this day will never forget like that crowd was louder than we were. And when you, I mean, that's the thing as drummers, when you feel that surge come to us, you can't help but want to give it back as much as you possibly can. And so that show, and also what they have always said about Punk Rock Holiday. Punk Rock Holiday is just special. There's no no security. People go up on stage, they're jumping off. There's people. There's a guy there that every year he's in a wheelchair, and he's crowd floating with his wheelchair. It's punk rock. It's 5 days long in the mountains of Slovenia. It's the most beautiful thing I've ever seen in my life. Where it's 5 days long. It's not overly done. They have up and coming bands on this beach stage during the day, and then they have 5-6 bands at most at night. And it's just
that's what I love most about it is there aren't 20 stages all full of bands and you have to rush between the stages to catch any of the bands you like. I love that it's like the beach stage finishes at 6, the main stage starts at 6:30, and there are no bands left out. I love that about it. It's a really great layout.
It's fantastic. I mean, if your band ever gets offered to do it, I just say yes because
bring your swim trunks.
Yeah.
Have we all played Punk Rock Holiday? All of us?
Gavin, Yuri, have you guys?
I have never.
No. We played Brack Rock last August.
Fantastic festival too.
That's a great festival too.
I was with you, Dalley. I was up on stage with you. But we didn't go to Slovenia. But we're hoping maybe next year we'll do all that.
Yes. All right. So Casey, you said you wanted to see what everybody's.
I want to see what everybody's hottest shows are. The hottest show you've ever played, or the hottest couple of shows that you've ever played, where it was just like you felt like death was imminent because it was so hot. And we've all been there.
Yeah.
All been there.
Yeah.
Well, you know what I've learned about that is don't wear those golf hats like Dalley's wearing. They don't breathe.
I don't wear this on stage.
No.
I know.
Don't put wool on your head.
Yeah. I learned my lesson. It was just a few years ago.
Dalley's a bandana guy on stage.
Yeah.
Playing the last tour, the last Warped Tour that was touring was Phoenix in July. It was 117, and then it was in the Black Asphalt.
What year was that?
2018 or 9? Yeah, okay. 2018.
Because I was going to say that's my hottest show was Warped in 1996.
Yep.
It started in Phoenix or Mesa or something.
Mm-hmm.
And yeah, it was like 117 degrees, and Mikey and I climbed the climbing wall. It was like 104 at like 11 p.m. Brutal.
Oh, yeah.
But we're outside on a truck. It's not like you're inside where the walls are sweating or anything like that.
Our singer, Jason, at Warped for that year was basically, I think, every 10 minutes giving us an update on his phone. 114. 150 now. Hey, guys, we're going to die tonight.
And then it overheats, and you guys got to put it back in your pocket because the phone can't handle it.
I actually felt bad for my bass player that day because he was so hot after the set that he went from playing in that 117-degree heat and went right and dunked his head into ice. Body shock. And we went to Europe a week later, and he was sick the entire tour. He actually, and thank God for free healthcare in Europe because he got hit. He was so sick he had got 2 Z-packs.
Oh shit!
Yeah, he was that sick.
Yikes!
Yeah.
Wow.
Yuri, what's your hottest?
Yuri.
Well, so definitely Warped Tour in Phoenix was high 110s, but it's a dry heat, right? But I think
and it's outside. It's outside. That helps.
It's that. Yeah. It's that. I remember our first tour, St. Petersburg, some little, tiny hall, and just starting to see the stars come up, on the verge of passing out. Yeah, But I played a lot of shows like that. So.
Oh yeah.
I played in Rio once and had that exact same thing where I was like, we were going to do the last song. It was 2016. We were playing in Rio. They had a thermometer in the club, and it was 52 degrees Celsius, which is 124 degrees Fahrenheit.
No.
Yeah.
Thanks.
Yeah, it was.
Wow.
So in the club, it was 52 degrees Celsius. And I remember leaning up against the wall and just sliding off the wall because it was covered in this, everything was covered in this slime.
Yeah.
So we played our set and we were going into the last song, and I was like, well, if I pass out, I pass out. Like, there's nothing I can do. We play the last song, and I'm just like loopy, and it was, one of the only shows in my history with Belvedere where I wasn't like striking immediately. I was like, I had to like sit down, and I had to get somebody to get me like a can of Coke or something. I was just like, I was totally out of it. But I have to say the worst, hottest show I've ever played. I don't know if you guys have heard of this place, but there used to be a place in New York called ABC No Rio. It was like an anarchist punk rock collective. Like the upstairs of it had like a library and like teaching rooms and stuff like that. And then underground, like the basement, because it was like kind of like a brownstone in the Lower East Side. You would walk down this staircase into this like a concrete bunker, no windows, no ventilation. So it's July, it's New York, it's a heat wave, and there's a garbage strike in the city. Oh. So the entire city smells absolutely rancid. I've never smelled anything quite like it. It was like being in a garbage dump. Make matters worse, we were opening for a band called Aus Rotten. Do you know who Aus Rotten is?
I know that, yeah.
They're like a legendary crust punk band. So this basement is packed full of the stinkiest people I've ever smelled in the middle of a garbage strike, in the middle of a heat wave. Everything's covered in this slime. I'm like vomiting from the stench of it. And, the place is so packed that people can't get out to like just go to the bathroom or whatever. So like I saw dudes just pissing in the corner of the room, like in the venue. It was wild. It was maybe about as hot as Rio, or maybe a little less hot, but it was so grosser that it made Rio much more palatable. Okay.
Odd. So,
we haven't heard AJ's.
Gavin, you have Warped Tour.
So aside from that Warped Tour show, we played with No Effects 1997 in Berlin. And it was some no AC, just narrow concrete building.
What?
There's no
AC in Europe? No way.
Right? No ice, no AC. Yeah. I don't know. They don't believe in these things. And this was in the 90s too, so there's no phones, there's no anything. There's no like load in or out. There's one door. Everybody goes in the front. So it's like we're done and I'm stuck having to break all my shit down. And the rest of the band, of course, is like eating the best Italian food they've ever had in their lives. So I break my shit down and then go looking for them. And then they're, you should try this gnocchi. Like, yeah, fucking assholes.
AJ, what about you?
Hottest ones. Spain is definitely one of them. I remember we did a handful of shows with the Flatliners, like right after the Cavalcade record. And Barcelona, I remember we oversold this. Dare I call it a club? It's more of like a bar, but I'm sure the cap there was like maybe 200, but there had to be at least 400 people there. And it was middle of fucking summer, super humid. That was a brutal one, but that same tour too. There was one in like Lille, France, like northern France. That was like a dungeon show, like you mentioned. That was just humid, no way in or out. Fucking brutal. I thought I was having a heart attack. But the main one is, I think my first show in Japan was Buddha Glow Skulls. I don't know if it was King's. Is King's X the one that's like kind of a basement club? Dalley, you would know this.
Yes, it is.
ACB? I think it might have been
ACB.
It was one of those. And they smoke in there. Remember?
Not anymore.
Yeah, well, yeah.
No, really? No.
Yeah, I was just there. I was just there in December, and they're actually not smoking inside anymore. I was shocked.
Okay, good, because that one, that was like the first show of the tour, and for some reason I had fucking hair gel in my hair. Well, I don't know why. And which because of this, I don't.
It melts and runs into your eyes. Yeah. That's the best when you're playing and your eyes are just stinging.
Okay, now combine that with a room full of smoke. And then I was smoking too, and then sweat and hair product and all that in my eyes. I was literally fucking blind until probably 3 p.m. the next day. And that ties into a funny ass story where I woke up at like 3 in the morning, still not able to see. And then that club is in like the red light district of Tokyo.
Yep.
And so it's pretty shady around there. A lot of Nigerian doormen going, "Hey, you want pussy? You want cocaine? What do you want? Come down here. We'll fucking rip you off." Where my horn players were actually partaking in that. That's why they weren't in the hotel. But I was walking around looking for one of those green medical signs on a building where I could find some eye drops or something. And I'm like, it was literally like out of The Walking Dead. There's all these like 50-year-old proper Japanese businessmen, because you know how they let loose on a fucking Wednesday night after they worked all day, fighting and puking in the streets. It's all foggy, or maybe my vision was just foggy. And I'm just like wandering my way through the red light district of Tokyo blind from that fucking show. Yeah, that was the most memorable. Wasn't the hottest.
Speaking of shows that make you blind, though, and this show I probably should have put on one of my favorite shows of all time list. But earlier last year in April, we did a 7-day run in support of like Bad Religion and Agnostic Front. It was amazing for me. That was a bucket list thing because Bad Religion is one of my favorite punk bands of all time. But the last show we played was in Barcelona at this place called Le Poble Español, which is like a castle on the hill above Barcelona, and it's got this like plaza that we're playing in essentially. But like they put the stage on the east side of the plaza, so like the sun is going down like literally right in our face as we're playing. And I could only see the sun when I closed my eyes for like 2 days after. It was absolutely insane. It was bananas. And actually we had the chance to actually like record and film it. So I did a mix of it and edited some video and just from my phone or whatever and put it up on YouTube. The whole show was on YouTube. But there's like a couple of great moments because I have like pre-scripted stick tosses, when I have like moments to do that. And I can't see a goddamn thing. And there's at least 2 that I miss rather egregiously. I mean, I don't miss any beats because I'm prepared for it, but it's like you throw the stick up and you can't see anything. So you're like, maybe, nope, okay, new stick. So being blind at a show is familiar to me. Although I have had the hair gel thing on occasion. That one's it's awful, just stinging. And you're closing your eyes.
I get the sunscreen quite a lot.
That's baldy.
It eats into the face, and you
Well, honestly, guys, this was like, to me, I've actually never officially met Gavin, so it's a pleasure to meet you guys. Yuri, you are still like one of my greatest influences. AJ, Casey, Matt, all of you guys are just super important to me as far as like I think the best thing about this whole roundtable is that none of us sound like each other. All of us have our own style. And I honestly just was so appreciative of these 2 hours that we just had right now. I can't believe it's actually been 2 hours.
Yeah, I was about to say it's 2 hours.
And I don't know what else to say, but let's do this again soon if you guys want to. And there's so many more things we can dive deep down in and talk about because, like I said, we've got stories for days. Touring bands for over 20 years, and let's just keep on doing what we're doing. And I appreciate you guys. Thank you.
Thank you. I was honored to be invited. This is a esteemed company. I respect all of you tremendously.
Likewise. Yeah.
Let's do it again soon.
A lot of fun.
Yeah, we'll work it out pretty soon. But I appreciate you guys.
Thank you. Let's keep in touch. On the socials or whatever the fuck they're doing now.
For sure.
I think our age just showed collectively.
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah.
Right on, guys. Well, then, let's keep in touch and thanks again, man.
All right. Hey,
thank you guys.
Have a good night. Dalley, have a
Take care, guys.
Thanks, Matt.
Oh, thank you guys. This is fun.
Bye.